All right, we're going to call to order the WTA Board of Directors meeting for Thursday, October 5th, 2023. We'll start with roll call.
Davidson? Absent. Donovan?
Here.
Fleetwood?
Here.
Hawkinson?
Here.
Huffman? Here. Courtheis?
Here.
Lautenbach? I see she's on. Lilliquist?
Here.
Sidhu?
Here.
And Darwin.
Present.
Thank you.
I assumed you brought the meeting to order. Oh, that's right. That's right. Citizen communications. Is there any communications in writing we should know about, or any member of the public here who would like to be recognized and speak?
This is Les. We haven't received anything that I'm aware of written wise.
Okay, thank you, Les.
Over.
So we'll go on to items D1 and D2. First one is consideration of approval of a contract for graphic design services. And Maureen?
Genevieve is going to take this one, please.
Okay, thank you, Genevieve.
Hi, good morning. So this is the consideration for our graphic design contract firm. So this is to do a 3-year contract for graphic design services with D2 Creative out of Kirkland, Washington. And so this is to have sort of a firm on contract so that we can send them any of our projects, from bus wraps to posters and transit guides and new maps that we're creating. So we're really excited. Our hiring committee, selection committee, viewed 12 proposals. We interviewed 4 firms and ultimately as a group selected to move forward with D2 based on their previous transit experience.
I'd move approval.
I'll second.
The motion before us to approve the contract for graphic design services. Are we using more graphic design in the past, or is it just that, I don't know?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah,
So in the past, we had worked with local designer Julie DeFore, but unfortunately, due to her workload, she's no longer able to kind of be on contract for us. And then I've also taken on some small graphic design projects, but we've decided that as we start growing as an agency, having a consistent brand vision is really important to us, as well as taking into consideration a lot of accessibility standards that a more experienced graphic designer would be able to bring to the table a little bit better.
Thank you, Genevieve. Any other questions?
Do we have any idea how much of that 100,000 we might use in the first year?
I personally don't, but I can find that out for you.
All right.
But yeah, this contract, they'll be used not only by my Department of Communications and Community Relations, but also with our planners, and to help with some of our upcoming capital projects. They'll be able to do things like 3D renderings of a potential Bellingham station layout, or those sort of one-pagers that can be created as well. Yes, Paul?
Is that Paul?
Yeah,
Thank you, Genevieve. Is that Paul?
I was just wondering, does this include all the signage on your buses, for the advertising on the buses?
So for our outside bus ads, those are actually contracted through a company called Lamar, and they handle a lot of billboards and bus ads. So when we have a local organization who wants to place an ad, they reach out to Lamar, and then Lamar checks in with us just to make sure that the ad is appropriate and that we have the space for it. But that's all handled away from us.
You have any idea, just like order of magnitude, I'm not looking for exact numbers, how much we pay to Lamar?
I don't handle that contract currently.
Does anybody else knows?
We actually get revenue from Lamar, so the advertising makes us money. I don't remember the number off the top of my head.
We budgeted.
Yeah, this is Les. That's a contract for that we actually get money off of. It's a couple $100,000 a year.
No, we get a couple of $100,000 from Lamar.
Yes.
Correct. Could we sell the advertising?
Oh, they sell the advertising. I'm just
right on our behalf.
if,
Yeah, we contract with Lamar, then they handle the sales of the advertising, and then they take a portion and we get the a portion, which is about $200,000 a year.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I believe several years ago, we passed a policy on avoiding controversial advertisements.
That is correct. Yes. We
Correct.
don't do anything that wouldn't be appropriate for all ages. So no alcohol and tobacco ads or nothing too racy.
And I think political campaign ads, yes, no, I can't remember on that one.
Yes, I believe that's also included.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further discussion? This is for a 3-year contract for graphic services. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? I don't hear any opposition. That passes unanimously. So the next item is consideration of another contract. This one with Arcadis, a California partnership that actually I think is the successor to someone we already have worked with, if I remember correctly. This is for Intelligent Transportation Systems Consulting. On my agenda, I say that Josh will be talking about this.
Yes, good morning, everyone. We're bringing forward this contract to bring on board some consulting services. This is anticipated to be up to a 6-year contract. We're still working out the details. I think it'll probably be a 2-year contract with 1-year renewal options. We expect to spend no more than $500,000 over those 6 years. So there's kind of an upper limit. This is a task order contract. So as we come across different projects, we reach out and establish a task order with them that covers the specific scope to that project. And so this company will be assisting us with a number of our projects over our 6-year Intelligent Transportation Systems project plan, including installation and implementation of automated passenger counters, new electric vehicle management software, yard management, a number of other tools that we're looking at over the next coming years. We did have actually a strong pool of candidates that we got to select from this time around. And we did end up going with Arcadis, a California partnership. And as Michael, as you mentioned, IBI Consulting ended up joining Arcadis, not merged, not quite sure the details, but so there are some familiar faces in this response. And so we'll be working with some folks that worked with us in our last 5-year contract with them, where we implemented Smart Bus and paratransit systems and a few other technologies.
And I think it doesn't say how many years this contract is for.
Yeah, so we're anticipating up to 6 years for this contract. We're anticipating that we're still working on the details, but I think it'll be a 2-year contract with 4-year, 1-year option, or 1-year option. So up to 6.
So the motion would be to authorize a 2-year contract with extensions.
Yes.
Scott?
I'll move that we approve the contract for 2 years with extensions up to 6 years with a maximum $500,000.
Second.
We have a motion before us. Again, if you come to the party, you can make motions more easily. So thank you for those who are attending in person. Todd, I thought you were going to be here in person.
Yeah, I was too cold to ride my bike. What you just said, Mr. Chair, makes no sense at all. In fact,
Sorry,
the
Seth?
ease with which I can articulate a motion to approve is as simple there as it is here.
I'm just kidding you, Seth. But do you have anything substantive to add to the discussion with regard to contract with Arcadis?
You just.
I'm just looking at the donuts right in front of the camera here.
Okay, I've got to move this along. All those in favor of the motion to approve a 2-year contract with extension for Intelligent Transportation Systems Consulting signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing no opposition, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We now go on to the consent agenda consisting of routine expenditures for the first half of September and board meeting minutes from the September 7th meeting.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Thank you, those who are in person, for making the motion again. All those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Any
I
opposed?
tried to get a second in there real quick, but Scott beat me.
Yeah, told you. The minutes and the expenditures are approved on the consent agenda. Reports to the board. So we have another mission statement update, this one on partnering, and then a general manager's report. So Maureen.
Yes, sir. Well, actually, this is the last. I'll take this. I apologize first off. For some reason, I can't get in to the Zoom meeting. I apologize being on the phone. We are, and I apologize for not being there. We're at the State Housing Conference, which is focusing on transit-supported development. And so down here, trying to learn some things and how it works and lessons learned from other locations. And so it's been a good day. And we'll finish off today and be back this afternoon. But it is definitely validating the level of housing that is needed in the state is amazing. Sad that they're talking about needing 1.1 million units across the state over the next 20 years for population growth and things. So it's good to be here and good to learn. But I apologize for not being there, and I apologize for my technical being terrible with technical issues and not being able to get on. The partnering aspect, the mission statement update. As you know, we try to update the board on each of the mission statement bullets. This month's partnering. A few of the highlights with that in no particular order. One, we've been started discussions with Amtrak to provide a backup resilient system for them as they're trying to move towards zero emission fleets. So if they need an emergency spot to charge the bus or things of that nature, trying to work with them to do that while they work with the port about putting charging equipment in down by their station. But started those discussions with them. We're also partnering with the City of Bellingham's new ADA coordinator to improve sidewalks and facilities at our bus stops. Most recent example you may see is near Sunnyland Elementary, where before riders had to kind of push through the weeds and uneven sidewalk and things. We'll be working with them to get in a concrete pad and a sidewalk free of barriers. So that new ADA coordinator has been working out well. Then through our Transit Access Fund, which the board innovatively approved, our partners with the Lummi Nation and the City of Nooksack are about to break ground on their bike and pedestrian infrastructure improvement projects, which are all help connect to our bus shelters and which enhances safety and accessibility to the existing bus service that we have out there, which is really good, and it allows them to enhance service to their residents as well. So that's been good. And then schools ramping back up, the partnering with local schools on instructional field trips is back in full swing. Recently hosted kids from elementary schools, at-home schooling, Bellingham High's life skill courses, and Ferndale High's intro to trades classes. So those are just a few of the highlights on partnering, and keep looking for ways to partner to increase folks' knowledge of WTA and service opportunities that we provide to meet our mission. So I'll pause there and see if there are any questions on any of those or other partnerships that I should be covering. All right. Hearing none, if it's okay, Chair, I'll slide into the general manager's report.
Please.
First up on that is good news to loop back on, as you recall, for Climate Action Week, we had done Transit for Trees, and we had set the goal to have 100,000 rides between September 22nd and September 30th. We actually had 111,738 boardings on our fixed route buses during that week, so exceeded the goal. As a result of that, WTA will be working with the Whatcom Million Trees Foundation to plant 1,100 trees. We did a maximum of 1,000, but with the increase in the community coming out to ride more, we thought we would fund the additional 117 trees to go with it. It's The cost is $11,000 for us to do that. And then the Whatcom community will get 1,117 new trees because of the writings. So that was good. Mary Anderson did a great job leading that effort. Also wanted to touch base on Westerns back in session. We've first week has been just about done, and it's a little early to see how things shake out, but so far things have been going okay. Only had one complaint so far about somebody who missed their bus. There are folks that are leaving behind, but we are coming in behind to pick them up. But we're trying to figure out how riding patterns work as kids and Western employees and so forth kind of get used to how things are going and what the travel patterns are. But we are monitoring that. As you recall, we went to 3 shuttles this time to see if that would work. Do have standbys to see if we are leaving behind, but so far we're not leaving behind from the standpoint of there's not another bus coming. So somebody who really is stranded. So we're making sure that that doesn't happen, but still monitoring and seeing where that goes. I think Jamie and Mary may be there, and if so, if you have anything else you want to add on Western service.
Thank you. So I think the things to remember or maybe know for the first time is that every year the patterns change, and let's kind of allude to this, that, new student housing goes up on, in different areas, or the class times change. And so every year is a little bit of okay, this is how it was last year. We think this is how it's going to be this year. And so we actually really being that key to trying to kind of does a lot of work trying to find the right balance of where the shuttle should go exactly at what times. And we feel like we have a pretty good balance this year where there are times where the buses are full. And this is, I apologize for those of you in there, but we can send this along to people. This is our full bus log. So basically, these are all the buses that go by Bill McDonald Parkway, and the orange boxes are when they're full. And so, yes, there are some times, especially between like 8:20 and 8:30, that there are full buses and they may be passing students, but then, for example, at 8:29, it's full, but then there's another bus at 8:31, and then another one at 8:32. And so yes, students are being passed, and I think that can feel frustrating as a student for sure, and frustrating, I would imagine, as an operator, if you have a bus that's full and you're passing up students. But from what we have seen is there are plenty of buses before and after, certainly within 15 minutes, and even more likely within like 5 to 10 minutes to pick those students up. The one pinch point, like I mentioned, is that 8:30 time, like 8:15 to 8:30, that if we had an extra bus and an extra driver, it'd be great to send one more bus up the McDonald Parkway, and we're looking into that. But at this time, it doesn't seem like that is an option at this point. But and then the other thing is that we did look at the ridership on the first day of school and compared that to 2019, the pre-COVID numbers, and you're at 91% of the pre-COVID numbers, and so that felt really good. We keep increasing, which is really nice, and that looks like about 17,000 boardings on those weekdays, whereas pre-COVID we were at about 19,000, maybe to 20,000.
Mary, how do students know that there's another bus coming or not?
So that's a great question. There's a few different ways they might know that. At the shelters or the bus stops, we have what we call the bus stop flats that have all of the times of the buses coming. There's also a vinyl decal in most of the shelters by Western that says, like, did you get passed by a bus? There should be another one behind that shortly. And then we also have the bus tracker app. So if students have that app on their smartphone, they can download that and then see the little bus icon coming up the street to pick them up. So those would be the main ways that they would know.
All right.
I don't have anything to add other than the driver for the reduction, really the staffing. We did have enough transit operators to have the full assortment of Western shuttles without disaffecting other service. Particularly, we often will drop paratransit runs when we're short-staffed, and that disaffects our paratransit riders as well. So once our staffing numbers are full enough to speed, we can look at adjustments to the shuttles. Additionally, when we do have drivers on staff, we will we send them in when we did like the back to school night. What did they call it this year?
Oh yeah, the
marching downtown. So there was thousands of students went downtown at like 7 p.m. and when they all finished, they all needed back up to campus. And our drivers are always willing to step up when needed. So many drivers stayed an extra hour to do extra loops to get all the students back to campus. So.
Thank you. Les?
Can I ask one question on that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Dan has a question here. Go ahead,
So,
Dan.
I just wanted to see from, because from our perspective, I just heard it's 90% from pre-COVID numbers. Pre-COVID numbers, we had 5 shuttles running. We've always had a good commitment to helping Western and being partners with Western and making sure that their students can get everywhere on time. So I hear now, okay, it's back to 90% when we had 5 shuttles, yet we keep dropping off shuttles. So in my mind, we're not giving them the service level that we should. But what I want to know is that the direction that the board is looking for? Do we, as a board, are we trying to reallocate resources elsewhere? Or are we still committed to doing the work and making sure that we are being good partners with Western and making sure that we're getting the students, as they're needed? Like I said before, we had 5 shuttles. Now we're down to 3. I understand there's staffing concerns, but when we can do it, I think we should do it. But I do want to know, what is the direction that we should start focusing on?
So if I could, Dan, that just because there was 5 doesn't mean that was the efficient use of those 5 as well. So we're trying to find where's the right efficiency level while we have staffing challenges. How do we best allocate those resources? And if we are getting people to where they need to go, maybe 5 was an over service and 3 is the right level to be at. But that's what we're trying to monitor and find. But if we keep doing the same thing over when we're having staffing challenges, it causes inefficiencies and inability elsewhere to serve. So that's what we're trying to figure out.
So Les, let me ask Dan's question in a different way. What do you understand to be the board's direction or preference on service to Western?
Move the kids. But how to do it in an efficient manner. We don't want to overserve. We don't want to underserve either. So trying to find that sweet spot where we are not leaving folks behind. There may be, like everybody else who commutes anywhere on transit, that you may have to figure out, okay, which bus is the one that gives me enough room in case it's crowded, or people who commute, same thing. You don't know, you have to leave yourself some time. So people are trying to figure those things out. But I view the direction as move the kids, don't leave anybody permanently behind, and find the most efficient, particularly as we do have staffing challenges, and it's harder to operate these days with multiple various leaves and hiring and retaining and so forth. So that's what I believe the direction to be.
Do we know what the longest wait time would be if somebody was left behind during those peak times?
Yeah, from what we've seen in the data, as well as like in the field observations, is 15 minutes. Yeah, and most of that within 10 to 15 minutes. And so here's just a really concrete example of like between 8 and 8:30, the bus is going past Bill McDonald Parkway and Samish, or sorry, Bill McDonald and 18. At 8:03, the bus was not full. 8:05, the bus was not full. At 8:06, full. 8:16, full. 8:16, full. 8:29, full. 8:31, 8:33, 8:35, not full. So again, it is that I guess that working with expectations. What are the expectations of the student? They may think, oh, I can walk outside my door and catch the bus in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but no, they may actually need to leave 10, 15 minutes earlier as we work to find the right balance of the service. But as best we can tell, 15 minutes is the longest somebody would have to wait, which would be the same for many members of our community that live on a hill line.
Yeah.
Of course, others it might be an hour that they have to wait for their next bus, but yeah, that's what the numbers are.
Thank you.
So I guess.
Yeah.
If it's, how far is it to walk to campus?
That's a great question. From Buchanan Towers, it's kind of just right around the corner, so it's probably about a 10-minute walk. So that is something that we have seen too, that there are some students that are waiting, they're like, I'm not gonna wait for this, I'm gonna, walk. From Buchanan Towers, that's much easier to do. From Bill McDonald and Standish, it's a huge hill to have to walk up. Same as
These are kids, though.
No, I know, exactly.
Not just
No, I know, I remember, like, when I went to Western, we didn't have the universal pass, and I lived pretty far from campus, so I remember riding the bus up the hill, and there's thousands, or felt like thousands, maybe hundreds of students walking up that hill. So that's just not as much as full training, but yes, for some students, they may be able to, if they're able to walk to campus instead of catch the bus. And for others, it's just going to be.
So if they miss it and it's 15-minute wait, they might even just walk there and get there in time.
Exactly. And we do, I don't know if they're still there, but we did actually have decals in some of the shelters as well that said, like, hey, did you know it's a 10-minute walk to campus from this bus stop? So to try and help give people options, or let them know what their options are and what to expect.
It's amazing how many people get on like one stop before campus, and it's maybe a 3-minute walk.
Yeah.
On Billy Frank, I don't know about, but yeah, on the Billy Frank route, it's like, why aren't you walking?
Because it's early.
Well, I know, but so as much as I understand like that sentiment of like, oh, people can just walk, in my opinion, we are training the next generation of bus riders. And if this is a viable service for them and they like this system, then they're going to continue riding public transit for the rest of their lives. If we give them this first experience of being, I can never get on the bus, it doesn't work for me, I don't like this, they're not going to continue being in the public transportation sector anymore. So I believe that this is us trying to make sure that we have a future generation of people that are like, yes, this worked. I'm going to continue doing this. I want to be on public transit, but that's just my take on it anyway. There you go.
Thank you, Dan. Any further discussion? Celeste, you're still giving your report, and that had to do with Western service.
Yeah. Well, I thank Dan for bringing it up and asking about it to make sure that we're talking about it in a transparent way. So the other thing is it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so we're working on that, and thanks to Josh and Jeremy for taking the lead on that to make sure that it's a agency-wide approach to cybersecurity. As you see in the news almost every day, there's something going on, so it's an ongoing effort and most appreciated. And then last thing is Andy and Eric are off to APTA Expo, the American Public Transportation Association exposition next week, and part of what they'll be doing is looking to see what kind of vehicles are out there that could better fit what we're trying to do and the mission and so forth. So as the manufacturing industry consolidates with folks like Proterra going bankrupt and others, it's good to have them down there looking and making sure we have contingency plans and help us see what the inventory is out there to help us better serve the public in a more meaningful way with the right sized vehicles. So that's pending questions. That's all I have, sir.
Not seeing any questions, so that completes everything on our agenda. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, that concludes our meeting for, oh, sorry, was there a hand up? Yes, Seth. And Jen. Well, first Seth, then Jen.
I was waving goodbye.
Oh, okay. Jen, what were you doing?
I had a question. So I had a couple people come in and ask me about the status of the Linden Hop, that there's only in Linden, these rumors apparently that the Linden Hop is maybe coming to an end. And so I was just wondering if we had any information on that.
So we will be setting a public hearing in November. So on the board agenda next month or next week is, or in 2 weeks, is to set a public hearing to talk about Linden service in 24. To that end, there'll be a range of options. As you know, we've studied those things. So it's ultimately the board decision. I think we've seen a number of very positive things from Linden. It's the Linden Hop. It is an expensive service, but as the pilot program has come to an end, we need to have that discussion and see what the board, how we allocate resources. So we will have options, pros and cons, and what we believe is a recommended course of action. I don't want to jump the gun because the work's not done yet, but I don't believe it's going away, but that's a board decision. And we will have that discussion in November.
Great.
Let's want Mary to highlight some of the public engagement coming up this month that Jen could pass along.
Yes, Mary?
Oh, sure. Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. So on October 16th, we will have a community meeting at the Linden Public Library. And then October 17th at Whatcom Community College. And then October 18th online. And then during that time, we will be collecting feedback from the public. And those meetings and those dates and more information is on our Engage WTA site. And I am just putting the final touches right now on what we're calling our June 2024 service change alternatives. And right now we have 2 alternatives that, I won't go into detail into that. We'll give you that information later. But yes, we are trying to find what the right balance of service is in Linden, and that is we'll be gathering the information from the public, from staff, and then presenting that to the board of directors in November.
Are those public events only to do with the Linden Hop or other possible service changes?
Yes, there are other possible service changes that would affect Route 26 and Route 29. So it's really kind of limited to those 3 services.
And those two routes serve Cordata neighborhoods?
The Route 29 does serve the Cordata neighborhood, and it's tied to the Route 26 right now. So, or it's interlined with the Route 26, and that's why that one would be possibly affected.
Jen, do you have what you need on the rumor?
Yes, I will pass the information along on how to participate in the process, and we'll see what comes of that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And there are no decisions.
Okay, that was a good thing to bring up. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.